So, you want to eat me?
Well, it's nothing directly connected to you in particular, but in general, yes.
Okay, this is good. She's getting to the negotiation point.
I don't know. This doesn't look too promising.
Why do you want to eat me?
Well, it has nothing to do with actually consuming your flesh for nourishment. Reptilians can be sustained through many different food sources, but it is the thrill of it.
Nonsense. Princess deals with these folks all the time.
He doesn't seem interested in negotiations.
Relax. Her PhD in psychology is gonna pay off. She's gonna bring home the bacon.
It still doesn't look right to me.
The thrill?
Yes, it is not unlike how your so-called house cat likes to capture, kill, and eat a mouse. You feed your cat well, so it does not need the nourishment, but the thrill of the chase and capture is addictive.
So you are addicted to eating me?
In a manner of speaking, capture, torture, and killing are part of the predatory instinct for many species. There is a rush, and then we eat our prey, of course.
But I do not want you to eat me. Does that mean anything to you?
Of course it means something. It is all the better. You will fight against being captured.
Are all reptilians like this?
There are other reptilians who are what you might call pacifists. But we consider that they have lost their way, their true calling.
Since I do not want to be eaten, captured, or killed, is this predatory thing negotiable?
Yes, of course. Humans can become our allies if they are willing to sign a contract with us. We will not eat them. Indeed, we will protect them, the way a shepherd protects his flock.
So your contracts enslaves a species to you? Is that not correct?
Well, yes, but if a species wishes to be cared for, is that not appropriate? Consider the alternative. It is a nasty universe out there. We will protect you. Slaves, if you want to call them that, are always protected. We like to call them willing allies.
What? She shot the reptilian
I
ambassador!
told you it wasn't going well.
Oh my god, what are we gonna do now? Hi everyone, welcome to the March 2021 edition of Farsight's Human News, the remote viewing news forecast show that tells you what is going to happen, not what did happen. I'm Courtney Brown, Director of Farsight. Now before we begin, let me tell you about our next major mysteries project that will be coming out on March 15th. Friends, you need to see this one. Presidential meetings with extraterrestrials. That's right. You have all heard stories about how past U.S. presidents may have met with extraterrestrials and made deals. Well, it's time for you to see for yourself what actually happened. First of all, did such meetings actually occur? Our remote viewing data suggests that the meetings did in fact occur. And remember, we are talking about Farsight data, the best in the business, not hearsay. Moreover, we went in deep, real deep, both on the side of the presidents and their negotiators, as well as the extraterrestrials themselves. It is not a simple picture that emerges. There were multiple meetings, and the extraterrestrials were divided into opposing camps. And, well, decisions were made. And you will see it all spelled out before you in just 2 weeks. This is very real history that needs to come out, and no one in officialdom is going to spill the beans voluntarily. There would be too many ramifications politically. Now, you know that Farsight is non-political. We never take sides on any contemporary political issue, nor do we ever support a particular party or candidate. It is even in part of our nonprofit charter. But the meetings between presidents and the extraterrestrials are now historical since they occurred approximately 70 years ago, so it is fair game. And since no one currently in power is going to talk about these meetings, the only way you will find out what happened is to watch it for yourself. Now, the mainstream will laugh right on cue, but don't be fooled. Be there. March 15th, in about 2 weeks, only on farsightprime.com, our streaming service. Now, before we go further, let's summarize what happened last month with our Human News program, starting with Kahmia Dunson's report. She reported on a serious set of political disturbances, protests, with authorities reacting strongly with significant violence. Subjects were dissipating and hiding, gunshots. Well, that pretty much sums up what happened in Myanmar. On February 1st, there was a military coup in which the democratically elected government was overthrown. And then there was a military crackdown. There have been protests with many killed and a continuing military crackdown. This was the big protest news story of the month, and Kahmia's session was spot on. This event also finds strong correspondence with the reports by Aziz and Melena Hall. The results are less clear for sessions by PrinCess Jeaneé and Trudy Benjamin. PrinCess reported on a city near a forested mountain which seemed to be dealing with a major fire, possibly in the forest, and Trudy reported on the destruction of a major building that may have had a natural cause involving the environment. Remember that in a universe of multiple timelines, which as far as remote viewing is concerned is an actual fact, not science fiction, the diversity in the reports by PrinCess and Trudy were good indicators that there would be no single major event that would dominate the news in February, and that is what happened. When a single event dominates the news in a powerful way, such as what happened with the incident at the U.S. Capitol building in January 2021, then the remote viewers tend to get similar and corresponding results, as most of them get attracted to that event. But when there is no single major news event that captures world attention, then the reports will be more diverse, which is a good thing to know in advance for any month. Now, there are some major things happening at Farsight that you need to know about. Our Time Cross show, which we are restarting, is in its final editing stage. We posted a few isolated remote viewing sessions called Time Cross Singles during the month of February, and the first full episode where everything is pulled together is almost ready to be released. The topic is the apparition of what many believe was Mary, the mother of Jesus, that happened back in 1917 in Fatima, Portugal. We are handling a lot of stuff right now as we pull lots of pieces together, so be patient for a few more days. It's greatly appreciated. It will be released on farsightprime.com. You know, so many people try to understand our current reality by exploring alternatives that are found in science fiction and fantasy. Indeed, science fiction and fantasy are the primary breeding grounds for new ideas that later emerge in mainstream science and culture. What we have found is that each culture on this planet approaches science fiction and fantasy from a unique cultural perspective. There is no one way to look at the future of human potential. And since our very real remote viewers are just about as close as one can get to off-the-scale human potential, we decided to take a look at how specific cultures see the future and human potential in that future. Our first venture to look at how specific cultures see such things is a new show that we are starting in March 2021, titled Infusion. It is hosted by Vincent Christie, and it explores the African American experience in the realm of science fiction and fantasy, a focus that is not well represented in mainstream media. In this show, he interviews really important people who are on the front lines of creating new content that is often overlooked by the mainstream, but which turns out to be strikingly influential in the future. Infusion's first episode will appear this month, March 2021, on farsightprime.com, so look for it. In the future, we plan to do similar explorations into other cultures as well. For example, who can deny the incredible influence that Japanimation has had on science fiction and fantasy worldwide? I remember Aziz and I watching Dragon Ball Z for so many years when he was growing up. Now Goku Powers is a thing. Similarly, there was so much to say about other Asian cultures with their own perspectives on the future as expressed in science fiction and fantasy, and European, Latin American, and African perspectives as well. So since Farsight is leading the charge into the future with respect to galactic explorations and consciousness, it only makes sense that we look at how other cultures view such things. Again, our first foray into this realm happens this month in Fusion, hosted by Vincent Christie. Watch for it. Finally, remember to learn how to meditate and to meditate daily. You can find videos on how to do that on our website, farsight.org. Also, for those of you who want to learn how to remote view with an instructor who can both teach and give you feedback on the application of methods and techniques, remember that PrinCess Jeaneé and Trudy Benjamin are both separately teaching Farsight's version of remote viewing. If you are interested in personalized individual and group classes, you can contact them at princessviews@gmail.com and info@trudybenjamin.com. There will also be live stream events with Trudy and Princess during the month of March. Finally, Farsight will have a new economic forecast out for the SP 500 in a few days. February was a short month, so we are catching up a bit. Also, our SECO forecast involving cryptocurrencies appears to be doing remarkably well so far, and we will publish our forecast for SECO 11 in a few days. Information relating to our SECO forecast can be found on our website. And again, how do you hear about these things so that you can participate and get the latest when they happen, including our live streams? Well, to start with, we use our email list and YouTube to make our major announcements. So there are two things you need to do. First, you need to subscribe to our YouTube channel and remember to click on the notifications bell that appears after you subscribe. That is the only way YouTube will notify you of the new events, especially our live stream events. Just subscribing doesn't do anything. The notifications bell is the important part, but that only notifies you of things that we release on YouTube. To be notified about the things that we release on farsightprime.com, which you can watch using our Apple and Android apps, or on the web, you need to subscribe to our free email newsletter found on our website at farsight.org. So be sure to do both. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Farsight, and remember to click on the notifications bell. And also subscribe to our free email newsletter that you can find on our website. The links are in the description area below this video. Those are how we announce what we do. We never send out spam, and we never give our subscriber lists to anyone else for any purpose. Also, you can enable notifications in the settings for our Farsight apps, so the apps will notify you of new content whenever it is uploaded. Now let's move on to this month's Human News Forecast for March 2021. Remember, we could always be wrong, and all remote viewing must be seen as an experiment, not a certainty. But look at the data for yourself. Make your own decisions, and then let's watch the month of March roll out to see what actually happens. We have 5 remote viewers who participated in this month's project: Kahmia Dunson, PrinCess Jeaneé, Aziz Brown, Trudy Benjamin, and Melena Hall. These reports are amazing to watch. It is best if you just watch them yourself without me trying to explain them in advance. So let's begin. I will return after all of the reports are presented to help you pull everything together.
Starting off, I have level topography here. I also hear a lot of noisy sounds. It kind of sounds like I'm in the middle of an intersection or like a busy city of some sorts. So I got the level topography here. There's this very large structure that I see as well. It's just like, it looks long, looks more like long than tall. And it's like, looks like this. I also see just some random scattered structures like in the background, like that. And then just, again, level topography back here as well. So just land. On this main structure here, I see something that looks like a, it looks like a giant column. You know what? I'm right-handed, so I don't know why I'm drawing with my left hand. So it kind of looks like there's columns here, like really big, wide columns, and then just something right here as well. And then it's just kind of dark otherwise over here. So just big, long structure, okay? Big columns on the structure as well. Scattered structures in the background, and then something else that kind of just looks like a sidewalk or something. And starting off, I have a main subject here. The subject is on the base surface and inside of a structure. This subject is male, and they feel slightly older, and they kind of have like a rounder looking face and just like short hair on top. Very like kind of beady looking eyes, thick eyebrows, like a prominent nose, like a small little mouth. I wouldn't say they're like heavy set or anything, but they're not necessarily slim. This is okay, so the subject feels like they're the main subject here, but it feels like there's several other subjects, like many subjects surrounding this subject. And this subject feels very like angry and anxious and just overall uneasy. So inside this structure where this subject is, I do see a very large kind of like table of sorts. So it kind of looks like a table here, and I see little heads around it. I feel like subjects are here. In the background of this table, though, I do see something that looks kind of like a podium of some sort, and I see these like columns inside, so it almost looks like, or it does look like there's columns inside around on the walls. So just like a column here, and a column over here, just like on the sides of this podium, and I see just like a little chair or something there as well. So there's like a table surrounding people in it, and there's other objects in here as well. Kind of looks like another sort of thing over here, like a wall of some sorts, but this is overall what it's looking like on the inside. It kind of feels like is this subject against everyone else. It feels like not necessarily like they're being attacked, but maybe like they're being judged. It's kind of what the subject feels like to me. Outside of this structure, I also see just other scattered structures. It feels kind of like a city here. So I have just this very large structure that it seems like all the subjects are in. It looks more long than tall. And again, I see these like giant column-looking things kind of in the middle a little bit. Maybe some steps in between. It just looks like layers or lines, and then it just looks very dark in between the columns again. So just it's kind of what it looks like. And it's on this man-made land here. I see like another structure back here, and I see like another one kind of chilling over here, and it looks like some sort of pathway or something. And then something back here as well. So just scattered structures, some sort of pathway, and a giant, long, like really big structure that all the subjects are in. This is inside of here. It has big columns. It gives me very much so like government building vibes, right? Like how the Capitol building may look or something like that. Just very regal and big and nice. So, and it's very loud here as well. It sounds like I'm in the middle of an intersection or like I'm in a very busy city of some sort. So, busy city, regal looking structures, some subject in here, a little older, male, does feel like, I feel like they're kind of known, like well known, and then it just feels like they're being judged of some sort. Like these subjects here aren't really vibing with that subject from what I can tell. Again, this subject, just focusing on my main subject here, that I feel like they are of a pale complexion. They do have a very warm, like orangey red undertone, and they just feel so angry, and the very thin eyes, like I said earlier. Yeah, that's just who the subject is. So there's a subject inside this structure right here, and inside here where it feels like they're being judged or something like that. Okay, so the next thing that I'm seeing here, I see a single subject again. This subject, however, I don't see a face on them, so it just kind of looks like a shadow subject here, and they feel like a normal, average built age, a little older than me, so maybe like 50s-ish. And this subject looks like they're sitting in front of something, okay? And there's this thing right next to it that kind of looks like a hammer or something, or it's definitely just protruding up, like it looks like this. And so it's right next to this subject. It feels like it's either in their hands or it can be in their hands. And this is all I see is the subject sitting in front of some sort of structure or a wall of something, and something here right in front of this subject. Okay, so another thing about this particular subject here is that it feels like this subject is making some sort of decision, right? Like it feels like this subject has very mixed emotions. Like it feels like they're so sure. These subjects down here are so sure, but then this singular subject that's not any of these subjects, it feels like this subject is just torn. Like they're like, I don't know, like, you know, like that's kind of how this subject's feeling. And I just get this feeling like this subject is like the main one that passes the judgment. It feels like this is some sort of trial, or he's on trial, or he's being judged, like I said, and this is like the deciding factor or the main person who casts the sentence, if you know what I mean. I can't get over this feeling that overall the energy inside this room feels very just upset, disappointed, judgy. It's not giving me good vibes. It definitely feels like the subject has done something that's just disgusted all these other subjects, and this one's trying to figure out, you know, who's right or who's wrong, something like that. Okay, so focusing on the target event. Again, I see this main subject, and I see them in front of this sort of podium-looking thing, and then subjects in front of the podium. And then this subject feels off, like off to the side or something, just not included with these subjects here. It feels like there's a lot of intense conversations going on, deliberating, making just a big decision. I feel a lot of anxiety here as well. It feels like there's just a lot of underlying feelings throughout all these subjects. Like something big must have happened, and everyone just feels so just like put off. And it feels like this feeling kind of expands outside of the structure. Kind of like not only are these people upset, but like people outside this vicinity are upset. So it must be like, you know, something big that must upset more than people who are directly involved. And then, you know, like I said, I just feel like this is some sort of deliberation or trial, because I hear a lot of shouting, I hear a lot of like hard, heavy voices. It feels like people are speaking very passionately here inside this structure. And then this subject here feels just very mute, quiet. Like they're listening to everything. This subject is just, but I feel pulling towards different directions from this subject. These subjects are all surrounding kind of this subject, and I hear shouting, I feel that angry energy, and I feel just like discontent and judgment here. Now, trying to figure out, you know, why these people feel this way, I can't help but sense like there's just so much that's gotten to this point, right? So it just feels like there's not just one reason why this subject is on trial. There's many reasons. It's like someone pulled out a list or a book and was like, da 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 da, and that's why. So just a lot of things adding up over time has led to this point in time. Again, it's just overall mass disapproval, a big letdown by more than just these subjects, by many other subjects. So I guess this subject here has just disappointed a whole bunch of people. They have a whole list against this man, and I guess today's judgment day. But yeah, overall it just feels like the cause of this trial or whatever is this subject here. They've done something to upset many people to the point where it has led to this particular event. They feel kind of pushing, like they don't see where they're wrong, or they can't believe that they're even here. But it just feels like nobody else is having it, and he's got a rap sheet. And yeah, government official looking building, some sort of meeting inside that feels like a trial. One subject that has like a big hammer, or I call it a hammer because it looks like one, but just some big object kind of within his vicinity and in his hands right next to him. And then this subject here is just like everybody against this subject. And not only are these people disappointed, like I said, but it expands outside of this structure, outside of this particular area. This subject has upset many different people. Everyone's disappointed, everyone's disgusted, and it's just, this is what it has come down to.
Seem to have a lot of natural land, both level and irregular, gravelly. I am having foliage all around here, a lot of movement. I'm seeing structures nearby, like a small, off in the distance maybe, large, very, very large open field. I'm hearing very loud noises. They sound like crashing sounds, wind sounds. I see a mountain, city nearby. There's subjects all around here. It's very smoky, gray, cloud dynamics, smells of burning. See this very odd circular pattern movement here with energetics. I see a shape that's very pointed and angular in a sense here. City structures, or city urban-like structures with swirls of energetics above, what looks like a mountain. Energy, commotion is very, very heightened here. And then I see this swirl in the middle of the land. It looks kind of like an S or a 2 in a sense. I have this land or a very open environment, large, extensive mountains, possible volcanoes or volcanic activity. I'll deduct a volcano. It's very weird, oddly shaped. Like I said, S is in the ground here. It's just a shape that's in the ground. There's a city in the background, also for far, far away. Again, lots of smoke, burning smells. My heart is racing. It's starting to, my body feels as though it's starting to overheat. Just got very hot. And a mild headache. I'm seeing a structure here. It reminds me of something like a spiritual temple, a synagogue, or I can't tell. Very shaped, older structure outside. I hear screeching sounds, very loud screeching sounds. Subjects swarming, crowded. There is a non-surface structure, metallic, that is above me. Chatter, murmuring, concern. There looks to have been some sort of a fire or scorching of some sort. There's foliage. I see colors of yellow, green, black, brown, darker colors and some bright colors. See what I am feeling as cars or vans. I'm getting the sense of journalists being here, people that are writing or taking note or noticing, news crew, journalists, reporters, and lots of surface structures nearby. Again, just fire amongst mountains. I feel very sad and very somber. Not a good feeling here. There's not good feelings. And in just this open land with this fire-esque feeling and this scorched letter or shape in the ground, or what looks to be in the ground. It's like I'm seeing structures here, but they're not the most important to this target. There is a fire that's scorching. A bad thing happened to something sacred or something important, monumental. The feeling that I am getting. A large non-surface structure. I cannot tell what's type here. Very metallic, dinging sounds when I knock on it. It seems like it's colliding into a mountain or a structure or something important. It just seems like it's colliding. I just get this collision effect here. There is just a collision effect near or around a non-surface structure and a surface structure or natural object is what I'm feeling here, and just swirling chaos. Just a lot. It's a lot of energy, a lot of energetics, a lot of cloud dynamics, a lot of smoke, hard to breathe here with all the smoke that's happening and the loud sounds, energetics, moving, much moved. Oh, movement by subjects, so much energy here, clouds. There's running back and forth. Here, I'm hearing water. I hear and smell like sirens, fire, screaming or yelling loud. It's like I can't explain what I'm seeing, but there's definite fire and ablaze. There's definite fire and heat here. It's cold to moderate temperature here. Like I need a coat or a jacket, very breezy. On the base surface, there's foliage, lots of it, and the ground is cold, it's dry, wet, also wet. There are things that are not on the base surface swarming around. I see colors of green and black, yellow. Life is very, very chaotic here. I sense the feeling of a life being alive, also life being dead, both dead and alive humans here mostly. They all have on casual, everyday clothing. Casual, everyday clothing. I want to move around a bit to see exactly what's going on. I'm going to go 6 to 8 hours before this all happened. I see mountain, I see snowiness, land, maybe possible snow, land, cold, calm city. Just like a normal peaceful day. There's not much going on here, and then all that movement and loud cloudy energy, and then going 24 hours ahead, it's dark, it's dim, it's debris. There's debris everywhere. There is dismay energetically. This seems to be just a very large environment, natural, with a lot of commotion, possible volcanic activity, metallic structures, some sort of collision. A collision, people are hurt, people are dying, people are not well, others are helping. I have the sense of people helping each other, trying to rush help here. Oh, wow, it's a lot. It's a lot of, there's a lot of teamwork. There's a lot of pain. There's a lot of suffering. There's body aches, disorient, smoke, subjects. The activity here has a lot of movement by a non-surface structure and objects, movement by surface structures, movement by subjects. And again, just like this collision and loud noise, metal hits natural environment or something in a natural environment, causing this commotion and just bang, boom. There's sounds that don't even make sense, that this explosion, fire, smoke, just loud, it was the loudest, most penetrating sound that, that collision was, cloudy. Cloudiness just up. Flames.
We have a lot of mountains out here in the distance. They never really seemed to be very important, but they are a bunch of mountains out in just one area of the topography of this landscape. The other area is, well, let me use a different color for it. The other area is a bunch of structures, like a huge spaced out urban type of environment. It doesn't seem, well, at the beginning of the session, of the paper session, it seemed like it was, I was unsure of the size. But as the session went on, it seems like there is a larger and larger urban area. I am getting the sense also of a it's an odd-shaped structure. It's just more circular. It just seems like a circle, like a, I don't know if I would deduct like Ferris wheel or something like that. It just seems like there's a circle shape, and I don't really know what to make of that. Oops, wrong color. Oh well. So yeah, we've got these mountains over here and an urban area over here, and everything else, you see I left this big space in the middle. That's just what looks like a desert to me, actually. It just seems like the majority of this landscape is just barren with some shrubbery here and there, like small bushes, arid, desert-like environment. And it seems like we have an urban center, and way off in the distance, just a bunch of mountains and some sort of circular object. And that's pretty much the setting of this entire place. I'm going to do another sketch, but one of these structures seems to be where all the action is taking place, and we'll get to doing a sketch of that. Okay, so the urban expanse is, the structures are pretty spaced out. I didn't get the sensation of like a New York City-ish type of dense urban area type of vibe. It just seems like it's a expansive urban area, but the structures seem to have significant space in between, but it is an urban area. I see vehicles, subjects, and the structure that seems to be the structure to look at, well, it seems like a skyscraper-y type of structure, just, you know, typical, lots of windows, tall, boxy structure, and it's there, and you just imagine windows going all the way down. And then the rest of the structures around it seem wider, more spaced out. A lot of cities look like this. It's not really unusual. Anyway, but the real stuff is happening inside this structure. So inside this structure, I'm going to do a little, let's do a little carrot out here. So inside this structure, which seems to be the center of the target, I'm seeing a room, and there seems to be a subject here, and another subject over here. And let me try to make sure I draw the perspectives of this room better. So here's a door. Boom, 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 boom. This subject seems like he's more or less like an assistant type of person, just standing there. His attention seems focused on this subject. They both seem like males. This subject seems to, give him a stern face. He's not exactly the happiest guy in the world, and his hair is, gosh, it's slicked back. It's not slicked back, but it's like, it goes backwards, like all of it goes back. Like, you know, some people have like their hair go in a schwa or something like that, or parts or something like that. This is like he has all of his hair combed backwards. Just, he has straight hair, and it's all combed back, like every single one. So, give him an ear. And he's got his one hand on a table, and he's got his hand there, and then the other hand he sort of just got down, and he's sort of just standing there, to be honest. I mean, he's not really doing anything crazy at the moment. He's just standing there. He's dressed really nice, fancy attire, like a suit or something like that. He's got this object here. Is it a table? Looks like a table. I guess it's a table. So it's this subject, male, standing over here. This guy just sort of watching him. And this is the setting for all the activity of the target. So inside this central structure, seems like it's just a taller structure, narrower, taller structure, which has other structures around it in this urban area. And it's an urban area. I mean, there's like vehicles going by. There's the sounds of an urban area that in this part of the urban area seems actually relatively quiet. It's not like a loud urban area, but during the paper session, there are places that are far over that way, which are louder urban area sounds, but where the target activity is, not that case. Seems pretty quiet out front. I mean, there's a couple subjects, like I only saw like 2 or 3 other people just standing around here, just sort of walking. Some guy over here, just sort of walking. I mean, just mostly people are in cars, and there's even not that many cars. So it's a quiet urban area. Anyway, there's this guy. This guy's standing there, and he seems to be a little aggravated, a little frustrated. So we'll do some deep mind probes. Okay, so this subject, he seems like he's at his aggravation, but it's mostly worry. It seems like he's on the verge of sort of having a temper tantrum. I mean, there's like a lot of conflict going on in this person's mind, and mostly anxiety and worry are the defining emotions. When I go into the deep mind probe and sort of try to see like, what's that root? Like anxiety, worry, like anxiety is sort of against the unknown. You're just ambiently afraid, but like where's the worry coming from for this person? And it's kind of a mix between anxiety and worry about an actual thing. So it's mainly directed at, when I probe and I try to look at the source, I'm mainly seeing just this quick image of a huge number of people. And I saw a couple of them having signs, like holding up a sign. Or like a sign, you know, and that sort of made me think like, oh, is this like a protesty type of thing, like, or something like that? Fancy dressed, older male, worried about a group of just casually clothed people holding signs, and like a lot of them. It's not just a small group, it's a large group of these people. Those people are not here. Those people are not present at the target time. This is just a worry that is consuming the mind of this person at this target time. And the anxiety that this person feels is sort of attached to this person's feeling of helplessness, and the aggravation or the aggressive type of angry type of feeling, that comes from the fact that he knows he's helpless to fix whatever is going on between him and this large group of people, some of them with signs, protesters maybe. That's just me guessing, but like still like a large group of people. But he doesn't want to admit that he's helpless. It's like he's not ready to admit that like he's got no more cards that he's aware of at this moment that can help him out. He's got no trick up his sleeve. So that's basically what's going on. This guy he's aware of what's going on with this guy. So this guy, he's totally aware of what this guy's going through. He's like, that's not my problem. My problem is the fact that I'm like, he's uncomfortable being in this room with this person. However, he is also, for some reason, maybe it's his job, he's not able to leave, and he's completely unable, ability-wise, to help in any way with whatever's going on with this person. And even if he was, I'm not even sure if he would want to, because he doesn't really seem to care. He just seems like, this is my job, I'm here, doing it. You're going through stuff, and because you're going through stuff, I'm uncomfortable being in your presence. So, which is a normal type of thing between people. So anyway, I'm gonna draw his face a little bit better. I'm gonna draw it over here, because when you probing a little bit further, you see him, that temper tantrum really does well up as time goes on. And the real activity, this is the biggest part of the whole session, it's not really a very physically active session, it's just him going through, maybe I can draw his face a little bit better, take a little more time with it this time. It's him going through a temper tantrum. I mean, he's yelling, he's just like, he's angry, and I'm gonna draw his hair with a different color. Let me just draw him bald first. Alrighty. And he just sort of, all of a sudden, when I'm probing for the event, like what is this news? It's him really angry, seems just like an older guy, really angry, yelling. He just has this real big outburst. When he's here, he's standing here and he puts his hand on the table and he's just kind of like, he's not really saying anything. He's just really frustrated and this guy's uncomfortable. And then eventually, like if you, the camera, if you're the guy, if you're this guy, and I'm this guy, he just turns and he's like, rah! He turns and he's very angry. He just yells. He just really yells at this guy. But he's not angry at that guy. Like it's just this sort of like ambient anger. I mean, he's just angry. He's just, he's not happy. And it has something to do with a large public group of people, and they kind of look like protesters. And that's what his head looks like. That's the best drawing I've given so far. I should take an art class. So anyway, it's this is really the whole bulk of the session. If this person, and this is a guess, I don't know, if this person happens to be a politician, and if this person is worried about protests of some sort, it is weird that he thinks he's in a privacy of his office, but we're all watching him have a temper tantrum. It's kind of a funny thing. So, this is one of the cool things about remote viewing.
In this target, there's a base surface structure that is really large. I'm sensing multiple sections of this structure and multiple subjects. There's lots of movement. I'm sensing a crowd or a focused gathering of subjects going inside of this large base surface structure. The main thing that I'm sensing in this target is that the subjects are moving kind of like they're focused on going towards one specific place inside of this structure. The emotions that I'm getting from these subjects are positive and negative. Sensing sadness from some subjects, but I'm also sensing anxiety or anticipation. Also noticing like there's a question about what will happen next. I'm sensing that the subjects that are moving in a focused gathering towards this structure or inside of this structure continuously are focusing on something that's collectively making them all sad or collectively discontent. Something about the target event inside of this structure is not, I'm noticing the target that they're going towards is it's pretty simple. This target that they're moving towards is anticipated. Something that has already happened is creating this sadness within the subjects. Something that has already happened is making them feel angst or anxiety or sadness or discontent. Sensing subjects that are males and females. There's pale skin tones and I'm continuously seeing light blonde and brown hair colors. I'm noticing that the subjects here are all different ages and heights. There's nothing complex going on besides movement by all of these subjects inside of another structure. The structure is large, it's hard, it's man-made. The subjects on the inside are still moving when they're inside. I'm sensing a weird zigzag motion of movement. It's like I'm noticing that type of movement is going in a pattern around something. It's like they're focused on something that they're walking towards or they're walking away from. This large location is on a flat base surface on natural land. There's few foliage, there's level topography. This environment is near a city. I'm also sensing that there's sound on the inside of this structure of talking, and there's sound on the inside of the structure of music, and they're all focused on something that's bringing them happy tears or tears of joy, or something that's making them sad, but they're not experiencing personally. None of these people are experiencing personally something that's dangerous. They're just reacting to something. On the inside of the structure, the thing that they're reacting to is I keep feeling the feeling of sadness and questionable sadness. It's like, why is this questionable? I'm sensing it's questionable sadness because I don't know what else will happen next. There's lots of movement. There's lots of movement on the inside of this base surface structure by a crowd of subjects. And this crowd of subjects are it's like a collective gathering of subjects that are continuously moving towards a center point. I'm sensing that there's a subject that they're focused on. The subject is the reason for their sadness, or is the source of why these subjects are here. The subject in the center of the target is still. I'm sensing that there's little to no movement by this one subject. Although there's subjects around him in a crowd or focused gathering that are moving together. I'm sensing that the subject in the center of the target is still. There's no movement. The subject is either standing or sitting in one spot. I'm not sensing that these subjects are too close to this subject in the center. The subject in the center is male. I'm sensing that the subject has soft skin, is pale. I'm sensing brown hair, dark colored eyes. I'm noticing the subject is weak and needs energy. Sensing lots of movement around this subject, but this subject isn't moving because he needs energy or is here because of energy. There's a reason for the needing of energy here. This subject is... I continue to feel pain something about the subject isn't there's a reason for the subject's pain, and continue to feel it in the chest area, specifically in the lungs, like a breathing issue or just needing energy, using up too much energy, or exhausting his energy to the point where his breath is no longer there. The inhalation is like stagnant. There's something about him that's not moving, this stagnancy here. In the center of the target, the structure is large, and there's subjects on the inside that are moving in and out just to see him. I'm sensing that there's lots of music, there's lots of sounds of talking and chatter and murmuring. Some loud music playing. I'm noticing that the subjects here are, I'm not sensing happy excitement. I'm sensing the complete opposite. It's like questionable sadness. My perspective of this is questionable sadness. I'm noticing that the subjects here are very dismal. But I'm not sure if they understand who this person is. Personally, I don't think these subjects know who this person is. And I'm not sure if they know why they're sad. I'm sensing that the subject here in the center of the target is a person that isn't talking to anybody. I'm sensing that the subject is silent and stagnant, but I don't think, I don't feel movement. I don't feel energy from this subject. Could be a death target, but I'm sensing that the subjects here are sad because of him and don't really know him. Sensing lack of movement within his body. I'm noticing that the cause of the target event is more dismal than the way these subjects feel. I'm going to move to the cause of this target event and why this subject here is moving closer to this subject. I'm noticing little to no hair. The hair I'm sensing would be gray. I'm noticing this subject is still stagnant. I would call this a death target. I'm not sensing that the subject has enough energy to even move around. I'm sensing the subject is lacking, I'm not really sensing a spirit here. The sensation of the past being painful, and I'm noticing in a large area within the body of pain around his chest and lung area. The skin is very pale. I would say that this subject is very old. And laying down. I'm noticing that the subject is supposed to be covered in something. Something is covering the subject, like some sort of cloth, in layers of cloth. I'm noticing lots of colors of white cloth. It's a very old subject. The cause of the target event, I'm noticing visuals of something dismal. It's like his energy was used too much. I continue to feel energetics being the purpose. Like he was trying to use energetics as his death approached him. I'm noticing he was utilizing too much energy or was using his energy the wrong way to the point of exhaustion. This subject, in the time of the target event, where his death approached him, I'm noticing was not alone. The subject was not alone in the target event. At the time of the target event, there was also someone else here, sensing that the subject was nearby, someone else, younger than him. He's a very old subject. Noticing that the subject that was younger than him watched him die. I'm sensing that the energy or energetics that the subject was utilizing, I'm sensing that the energetics that the subject was utilizing was being used in a wrong way, or he was using too much of his energy towards something that was happening during the time of his death, towards something or someone or the subject that was younger than him, considerably old subject in general, but I'm sensing that the subject was using his energy for a purpose that wasn't really good for his health or for his body. Lots of his energetics was sourced from his lungs or his breath. His breath was like the source of his cause of death and the source of his energy at the time of his cause of death. I'm not noticing anything else being the reason. Personally, I'm visualizing a lot of pain right here, but I'm also sensing that the subject was depolarized about the experience. I'm not noticing him being sad or happy or angry about his death. It was just something that was deemed to happen. It's like his death was already coming, but he needed energy from something, so he was using his breath during the process to he's using his breath in the process of his death. He's using his breath in the process of his death to channel his energy towards something else or someone else. It's like that was the source of his death. He died because he was using too much of his energy towards someone else that was younger or something else that needed something about the other subject that was nearby is the reason for him dying so quickly. Whatever type of breath movements or how fast his breath was being used, how slow his breath was being used. I'm just continuously visualizing his lungs collapsing while the process of his death happens. It's like a depolarized death. I'm just sensing the subject here that has their energetics. It's interesting. A subject that is next to him during the process of his death, visualizing a lot of sitting. I don't sense the subject talking at all. I'm continuously seeing this person covered in cloth, in white, soft cloth. Whether sensing the same type of cloth, it's like he died. Sensing his death happened a couple of days before the crowd of subjects know about his death. The energetics being used from his body onto another subject. I'm sensing that this subject is depolarized as well. Not sensing that the subject that is younger than him is really noticing anything happening. I'm sensing that they are disoriented or do not consider anything wrong. Like I'm visualizing that this subject is actually not able to see. I cannot, from the deep mind probe, sense any sight or understanding of what's going on. I'm not sensing positive or negative emotions from this younger subject. This younger subject is male as well, but I'm not sensing anything from this younger male subject. Emotionally, I'm sensing they cannot see, and that this subject is just dying. During the time of his target event, his breath is the source of his death, using up too much energetics from his breath onto another person. And during the time of the crowded subjects seeing his death, but those subjects don't really know what happened.
For my first visual, from above looking down, I'm seeing wide, tall buildings. Some are old, some look old, but I'm getting a lot of modern feel in this area. I'm seeing water between this area. It's really close. It's like within the structures. It's that close to each other. There's small bridges across the area. But again, there's like just structures all around. It's almost like a circle around this whole area, but in this middle, there's definitely water, and there's water around the area, but there's also water between the structures in this area, so it's pretty different. Really nice. But yes, and also it's very, very cold here, like cold. Very cold area. Here for my second visual. I'm getting this tall structure. It looks like I have like gold tint on the structure, but it's very tall, wide. It kind of stands out of all the other structures. This structure seems just strong. In front of the structure, I'm getting subjects. A large crowd of subjects. Subjects are wearing casual clothing, covered up, but I'm getting these hats they're wearing. Subjects are wearing these red hats on their head. Not all, but majority of these subjects in front of this building. I'm getting a feeling of sadness, but again, cheerful. It's mixed emotions with this crowd. These subjects are all against whoever is against them, and feels like a rally or a memorial. There's cars slowly going past this crowd. Nobody's really paying attention. This city area is very, very busy. But again, like, they're trying to draw attention to this structure and everyone around. But again, just people are just moving by. But there's a large crowd of these subjects. And for my third visual, just a closer look at the subject, one of them, I'm getting a male subject, light skin, red undertones. Subject seems a little sad, but this subject is very loud. And again, it's like a lot of subjects that looks like him and are with him and all have the same emotions as him. But again, overall, this feels like a very sudden change in this area, or a feel of like a gathering, and it's like a important subject to them and to everyone else at a time where it was attention on that subject. seems like they left or it's not here, no longer here, and it caused a lot of feelings in this area.
Okay, so let's draw some conclusions from these data. March 2021 is going to be a really important month. First of all, note that there is a strong correspondence among the sessions by Kahmia, Aziz, Melena, and Trudy. These 4 reports seem to focus on a primary subject, a leader of some sort, a group of very disappointed followers, possibly wearing red caps, and what appears to be a judgmental meeting involving an important person, possibly the same leader. Something involving that leader upsets a lot of people, both for and against. The leader's supporters seem to experience sadness or disappointment, and the leader himself seems to be really upset in private. The fact that we have 4 remote viewers who see much the same thing suggests that this will be an important part of the month of March. Princess's session is different, and that seems to focus on an outdoor event that may be a natural disaster. Now, the details in these remote viewing sessions are sufficient such that we will be interested to see how things match up when the events occur. So join me in the month of March 2021 as we keep our eyes wide open. Again, these are experiments in remote viewing, and we could be wrong, but our track record with the application of remote viewing is really strong. So let's wait and see what happens during the month. I'm sure we will get some things right and some things wrong, but the unique character of these forecasted events is such that we should have no trouble identifying them if and when they occur. So that is it for our March 2021 edition of Farsight's Human News, the news before it happens. Thank you for watching. Please also join us next month in April 2021 for another look into the future of Earth humans. Also be sure to look for the new releases on farsightprime.com this month, including our live stream events, the Farsight ET News, the live intelligence briefing with myself, the next major new mysteries release on March 15th, presidential meetings with extraterrestrials, the reboot of our Time Cross show focusing on the apparition of Mary that happened in Fatima, Portugal in 1917, the new show Infusion, as well as new Farsight economic forecasts. I'm Courtney Brown, Director of Farsight. Stay ahead of the curve. Let the mainstream fade in the dust. Be there now.